I start with a very official citation from the House of Representatives, made possible by Representative Mike Schlossberg.
Of course.
Here we go.
love him. Is he here? Love Mike.
Whereas,
He's the best.
don't get that in a lot of your student essays, do you? The House of Representatives of Pennsylvania is always pleased to acknowledge those individuals who, through their dedicated endeavors, contribute to the well-being of their communities and ultimately to all the people of this Commonwealth. Whereas, on December 7th, 2024, the Jewish Day School of Lehigh Valley will recognize Mr. Goldman's treasured career at its annual gala with friends, family, staff, volunteers, and supporters of the Jewish Day School present. Now, therefore, well, not I, Representative Mike Schlossberg, but Representative Mike Schlossberg commend Mr. Goldman for his 50 years of service in education, to the students entrusted to his care, celebrating the accomplishments of both educator and students alike on this monumentous occasion, and extend my appreciation to Mr. Goldman for his dedication in the many ways he helped to mold our community. Of the wonderful testimonials. We just couldn't fit them all in one video that were contributed from our students. And this, I say Gesundheit for everybody, this Gesundheit book full of drawings like you've never seen before. So you're going to have to stand in line for Mr. Goldman to show that to you.
Looking forward to seeing it.
My friend, my mentor, please, here is Mr. Brian Goldman.
Well, there was a little bit of hyperbole here. Thank you, Joanna. I should say, before I read what I prepared, that there are not many teachers that get recognition. I'm very grateful for this. Very grateful. Most teachers, if not all, should have a moment like this. Okay.
That's a good point. Boy, does he look.
Good evening. Or should I say, please sit up straight and pay attention. I moved to Allentown when I was 1 year old in 1952. In 1959, my parents enrolled me in Knesset Israel's religious school. I liked the school, even though I was a shy kid and it was a new place. I was made to feel comfortable and made a lot of friends. 5 years later, during the summer of 1964, I began to prepare for my bar mitzvah. It was scheduled for October. I still clearly remember October 9th, 1964. It was a rainy, cold Friday. My relatives arrived, and I spent the day with them and in getting ready for the evening service. Of course, we got to the synagogue early. People then started to arrive. A lot of them. Many more than I'd imagined. And KI Sanctuary was packed. The service began, and I recall going to the bima and gazing out at rows and rows of faces. My knees literally started to knock together. I'm sure I must have looked as scared as I felt, seeing what seemed like 1 million people. My gaze was caught by the father of my closest friend at KI, a man I knew named Josh Epstein. He looked right at me, winked, and gave me just the kindest smile. Well, my knees continued to bang together for a bit longer, But from that smile, that moment on, I was okay and led the service. It's important to add one thing here. Josh Epstein was one of the happiest adults I ever knew as a kid.
It's wonderful.
So, class, perhaps you've deciphered the theme of my story and how it relates to this evening. No need to raise your hand. I'm going to try and explain. It's simple, yet complicated. My story is about being kind, and therefore, along with supporting the day school's concrete needs tonight, you are also supporting what I came to understand to be its most wonderful attribute. Oops, wrong page.
I've done that already.
Its most wonderful attribute. The compassionate, caring, comforting world found inside its building. Stories like mine occur every day at the JDS. It's not like other schools. No one falls through the cracks. If a child's knees are knocking together, there is always a kind adult who notices and helps. Now, take it from someone who taught for 49 years. Those consistent actions produce emotional connections, crucial personal relationships that powerfully encourage every student to utilize his or her intellect, and so academically grow and become emotionally stronger. And that emotional strength truly enhances learning. Our kids feel secure. Secure enough to try to answer questions, to give that speech, sing that song, perform at a talent show, recite pi to 300 digits, compete in a spelling bee, write a short story, and on and on. I can tell you that it was great to regularly witness the most unlikely child excel. You know, there's a postscript to my bar mitzvah story. As you are all now aware, I never forgot Mr. Epstein's wink and smile from 60 years in my past. A few weeks ago, I thought telling about it would be a good basis for my remarks tonight. I told the story to Judy, my wife, and she agreed that it would be good to share. 2 days after we talked, Paul Epstein, Josh's son, and my good friend from KI, who had moved to West Virginia and who I hadn't spoken to for years, called me. He said that he was, quote, just feeling nostalgic. During our conversation, I told him the story and how I planned to use it. His reaction was emotional. I could tell how happy it made him. Coincidence? Maybe. But here is a really important truth. Kind acts always stay with the recipient and inspire more goodness. So, that is the other half of what you are supporting tonight. The steady compassion, encouragement, and empathy provided to our kids are then magnified by each of them. They help each other. They help their teachers. They display patience, they visit the elderly, they willingly read to our youngest students, and they also learn the best lesson of all, that the most satisfying happiness comes from being kind to someone else. So, a smile and a wink are what you are supporting tonight. And of course, you too now have this moment to feel the happiness from helping others. And on it goes. Thank you.
Keep going. Thank you so much, Mr. Goldman, and for everyone who made tonight possible.